Matthew Stafford received 24 of them. Drake Maye, 23. 1 vote short. And even though it could not have been any closer, this is a miss by the NFL. Drake Maye should have won this award rather than Matthew Stafford. And it's another example of the NFL honors mimicking the Oscars in a way. The consideration isn't always about who had the best performance. This is kind of like 50 years ago when one of the best screen performances we've ever seen was Al Pacino, a young Pacino, in Godfather Part 2, but he didn't win the Oscar for Best Actor. Instead, it was close to 60-year-old Art Carney for Harry and Tonto. That doesn't age very well, but what did people say at the time? Oh, that young Pacino, he'll win one day. And that one day took 20 years. Eventually, it was Sin of a Woman that won. Leonardo DiCaprio was told that after Titanic and after The Aviator. Oh, your day's going to come. You're very young. And then the movie he ended up winning for 10 years ago or so was for The Revenant. Show of hands, who thinks of The Revenant first when you think of your favorite Leo DiCaprio movie? In the NFL, we saw it last year. Lamar Jackson against Josh Allen. They gave the award to Josh, even though Lamar was more deserving, essentially saying, now, Lamar, you've won this already. Josh, it's his time. He hasn't won yet. And that's not the way that these things should be decided. In Drake's case, we know what they're going to say. Drake, you're 23 years old. You're in year 2. You're going to win it in the future. This is aging Matt Stafford's last shot at the award. Let him have this one. That's what this feels like. And on paper, you could make the justification for it being so close. The stats were about even. Stafford having the advantage in passing yards and passing touchdowns. But Maye was number 1 in the league in QB rating and yards per attempt and completion percentage. Plus, Maye could run. Matthew Stafford, did he have more than 1 rushing yard the entire season? Not a joke. Let's go back at the stats. Stafford wasn't a runner. Maye added that element. He had 4 rushing touchdowns. By the way, his team won a couple more games in the regular season too. And before you bring up Maye's competition, the defensive ratings of the teams that both these guys faced, because these quarterbacks, breaking news, don't go up against the offenses. They just go up against the defenses. They were actually really similar. And when you looked at common opponents between Drake Maye and Matthew Stafford, Maye was better against those opponents than Stafford was. But that's disputable. You could dispute the stats. What isn't really in dispute here is that Stafford was in a far better situation than Drake Maye was. Stafford has Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams and the number 1 rated rush offense and Sean McVay, plus he plays in a warm weather dome city. Meanwhile, Drake Maye has Stephon Diggs and and his O-line wasn't nearly as good. Plus, he was in a cold weather city, which obviously is going to affect some of your numbers, especially towards the end of the year. Just think of it this way. If we Freaky Friday'd the situation, and it was Drake Maye with that supporting cast, with those receivers and that coach, would his numbers be better than what he produced in New England? Probably so. Now ask yourself if the aging quarterback who's played his entire career in a dome, closing in on 40, would be better behind a worse offensive line and having Josh McDaniels call his plays rather than Sean McVay and throwing the ball to lesser receivers. Anybody think that he would perform better? Probably not. Drake Maye should have won the NFL MVP rather than Matthew Stafford. But Matthew Stafford, this actually just went down in the last 20 minutes. Matthew Stafford breaking some news at the end of his speech, or at least during it. This is courtesy of NBC and NFL Honors.
I am so happy to have you at the games on the sideline with me, and I can't wait for you to cheer me on next year when we're out there kicking ass. And so I'll see you guys next year. Hopefully I'm not at this event, and we're getting ready for another game in SoFi. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
That's a reminder for you that next year's Super Bowl is going to be on the West Coast as well, and LA, where Matthew Stafford won the Super Bowl the last time it was there against the Cincinnati Bengals, but he's going to be returning if that was ever